didn't actually realise that the focus system as it is now, which unlocks after you've done the second dream quest, if you haven't, watching this will contain a lot of spoilers, but it's actually existed like this for almost 2 years now. I didn't realise it had been so long. They have confirmed that all the focus points you have spent and earned and all of this research and everything else will be refunded to you. So all the focus rep you have earned is going to be refunded. The weird thing is, it still hasn't confirmed that, and I was looking for an example, say this for an example, it's only partly leveled. Will I still get that 41,700 back, as well as whatever was in for the first one? Or will it just be ones that are actually maxed will be refunded? This is kind of important if, like me, you have unlocked some of every focus tree. I stuck with Naramon, and once I got to Shadow Step, I had basically left it alone and started using lenses on everything else. Best example there would be all my frames are using one lens, all my primaries use a different one, secondaries same thing, they're all using the same lens, but it's 4 different lenses. They did of course confirm all installed lenses will be removed from whatever item, where primary, secondary, melee or Warframe they are installed on, and they will be returned to your inventories. One of the main reasons for this is they did mention they're going to be bringing in, I think it was called an eidolon lens or an Austrian lens, I cannot remember, but it's going to be one level above the greater lenses, normal lenses being 1.25% affinity conversion, greater lenses being 1.75, and these new eidolon lenses being 2.25, which is another reason they're returning them. Plus, with returning all of the mastery and everything else, it means that obviously people are going to want to go for different ones than they may be using now, so it means that people can remap their trees easier and they can focus more on one without having to spend platinum buying lenses or doing this, actually removing them from the sorties. So you can't get them from there. They're going to be inside of the Plains of Eidolon town that I can never remember the name of. It begins with a C, I think. They did show a slight little snippet on prime time number 183 of the Naramon focus tree, which is why I was aiming at that. And weirdly, the main one, instead of it being called Mind Spike, was called Affinity Spike. And that is actually based more on the, I think it was called Strategic Execution for the normal Naramon, but it goes up way higher than the 25% that it does now, and it goes up way more. But there is a lot of other things that they also show, like all of those things down the side are passives from other focus trees, so aiming for just one may not work this time around, and I'm kind of really looking forward to the way that works, because introducing aspects of other focus trees that will work on other focus trees mean that you won't just be locked down to using just one kind of ability, like the Mind Spike for Naramon, which unleashed a burst of physical energy and it confused the enemies within a certain range. It basically did radiation damage. Now there's going to be lots of other stuff, but if it works the way that it looks like it's going to, again sticking with the Naramon focus tree, remembering of course that Shadow Step here will not actually be available. That they did confirm about 2 weeks ago now, I think it was. Shadow Step is going. It's not coming back in the new one. And as you could see from that video, there was melee damage which is going to be increased, which is going to be great for Naramon. The Affinity Spike is still there, which, as I mentioned before, is a strategic execution here, which is also really good, because the main reason I run Naramon is Shadow Step is good for stealth missions, but a good Loki or Ivara can do similar kind of things. It was mainly this, and the fact that it's now built into the main part where Mind Spike currently sits, That, to me, bodes well for Naramon, but it's the passives here that would be available on other focus trees. And they did mention that, as it was in the preview video that they showed, Mind Spike was going to be called something else, Affinity Spike, and then where Mind Blast is here, it was called Melee Damage. They were referred to as residual starting effects for the main thing, and after effects. So things like Shadow Step, where it continues for the duration of the mission. It looks like there's only 2 that do this from the forum post that was in there. And of course Naramon still based on melee damage, which is great. And the fact that this has remained, to be fair, I'm loving that. I just wish at some point they allowed you to actually scroll out of this. But Zanurik is going to have, its starting node is going to be Energy Pulse. It's a residual effect that grants you a radial energy pickup effect for teammates. Once active, the operator will be able to, yeah, I'm not really sure what they meant by that. A radial energy pickup effect for teammates. Does that mean you will be able to revive them easier, or are you going to get energy easier? And the other residual was a channeling effect, which 50% more channeling efficiency on melees. Again, melee damage. Yeah, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that. But the residual starting node for this looked really promising, because it says it's going to be a radial effect that reflects damage back to attackers. That could be insanely useful. And the other residual effect, remembering residual effects last the entire mission, is an armor buff. Which, these are looking more and more promising. Of course, these will eventually come with Plains of Eidolon, so good week, maybe 2 before that arrives. I've basically spent the past 2 weeks saying, no, they said it was going to come in September, it won't come in October, it won't come in October. Yeah, it's October tomorrow, so I was wrong. And I've said it many times in the past. I'll admit when I'm wrong, because I was wrong. Madurai on that. The first residual effect, I think they said it was Phoenix Talons, because some of them do have names. Actually, most of them actually have names. I think the last one was Mirror Flare. Anyway, the Phoenix Talons is a residual effect that grants you increased physical damage. That would be / impact puncture. And the secondary one is Phoenix Spirit, a residual effect that grants increased elemental damage. One of the good things, of course, is Vizarin will have the instant revives for your allies. That will be there. And there's also a residual effect, or the first residual effect is actually, it grants increased affinity radius. It's the secondary one that increases, or gives you the instant ally revives. Is that what the one that was actually in this one? I never did look into it and find out which one actually did that. Yeah, the ability to revive allies instantly. So it was here, it's actually remaining here, but it's going to be one of the residuals, not a passive anymore. It's just going to be built into it and last for the rest of the mission. Going back to the footage from the actual Primetime 183, it does actually say that 2 passive nodes for each tree can be made to be universal. So the list was there as an example during the Primetime thing, but there's 5 trees, so you can have 8 additional passives. This is why I mentioned earlier, I'm hoping that these residual effects aren't going to be passives, because why would you concentrate on one focus tree over others if you can basically master 2 points in every one and then just run, well, basically have no need to run focus farming ever again, or use lenses ever again, because once you've unlocked them 2 on all 5, you will have all the passives available to just one operator, and kind of defeats the point of what they were aiming for the rework for, so I really doubt that's the case here. The passives are not going to be things like the revive from Vazoran is now the main point of it instead of being a passive. So I'm interested on seeing how this actually works. Of course, remembering this won't come until the Plains of Eidolon itself actually drops, which is just building more hype for that. But the skill trees are remaining similar to how they're laid out now, and that's probably one of my favourite points of it. They are changing it, they are making it better, but they're not making it weirder. Anyway, we'll leave this off here for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch yous next time.